Hello, welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to another very special video. We're delighted to welcome Mr. Troy Deeney to the show. Troy, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us today, mate. First off, how's it going? How you doing?
Life's good. Just working. Literally just finished training. Apologies for being late. I don't really do tardiness.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. How are you feeling after Saturday? You recovered? I guess you maybe had a quiet one, right?
Yeah, I was at a game with my daughter, so I didn't do much. I didn't want to tempt fate as well by planning to have a tear up and all of that before the job was done. But the job's done now, and we'll enjoy the next two games, and then I'm sure there'll be some celebrations around afterwards.
I saw you standing on the side as well. What was the thinking behind that? Was it the fact that maybe you didn't have as when you compare your role to the other promotion in 2014-15, you were instrumental in that. In this one, maybe you took a bit more of a backseat with the injuries, etc. Did you just feel that you wanted to maybe step back and not get involved with it?
No, I wanted to be involved in it, but there's an element of, you remember, I read all the shit that everyone says, including your lot shit, but I read all the shit that you lot say. And if I'd have went in there, been at the front of it, everyone would have been like, what's this doing? And so I just stepped to the side, let everybody else enjoy it. It's their moment. As you said, I've been in this, I've done it. I'm not going to lie, I weren't happy to not be involved. I want to be involved. I'm about 10 days behind being involved in that match. So, yeah, I'm pissed off, but you can't be pissed off when everybody else is happy. Like, it's a great moment. And also, it's a little bit like we all expected to be promoted. So the year we got promoted, it was more like a wishful thinking, wasn't it? No one went, right, this is the year we're going up. This year, if we hadn't gone up, it would have been an absolute disaster. So the celebrations weren't as big for everybody. If you see like Craigie Cathcart, Will Hughes, people like that, they were having good time, but it weren't, yeah, we've done it. It was more like, okay, job's done. What next?
Yeah.
And a lot of the other boys deserve it. It's their first time. Your Daniel Batmans, your Truce to Kongs, it's their first time being promoted. So I know what that feeling's like. You can't control yourself. So fair play to them all. Everyone handles things differently, and I'm going to be 33 in the summer. So having a tear up on the pitch is not really my thing anymore.
I know you said like there was the expectation that we get promoted, so it's a bit like, all right, job done. But do you feel like there is kind of not a hint of disappointment, but you did mention a lot at the start of the season, like we want to win the league, we need to win the league, that kind of thing. Is there an element of disappointment in there that it wasn't as comfortable as perhaps it should have been?
No, it's I think the best way to describe it is you guys don't see what happens behind closed doors. That's why I personally get frustrated when things are said on social media when people don't really know the backstory. So without giving everyone's story, I can just tell you about mine. I was told I was getting, I could leave, and the club were looking to get rid of me. So at that point, I'm not training with the team, nothing. These are things you guys don't see behind closed doors. Then, as the transfer window is near ending, I'm told I'm staying. 4 days later, I'm playing with no pre-season, no nothing. Then everyone goes, Troy's not as good as he once was. I've trained 4 days. But then you're expected to get fit, be at a level that everyone wants. And then you look at a situation like Huddersfield, where nobody spoke to me. I literally travelled with the expectation to play and didn't know I did anything wrong. Saw the manager at the training ground on the bus, all of that, no problems. Get to the game, I don't even get a game. I get in my car to go home, because obviously I live in Birmingham, well, half and half, but I was going back to Birmingham that weekend. Get in my car, switch on the radio, Ivic has been sacked and it's Troy Deeney's fault. Huh?
Does that affect you, Troy? Does that annoy you?
Of course it does, because all you lot go, Deeney thinks he's too good for it, he does this, he does that. And you know what pisses me off even more is, I do more for this place away from the football club, away from the football, than any of you lot will ever know. And that's the first time I said it. I don't do it because I want to pat myself on the back, but I do get pissed off when you lot all go, he thinks he's bigger than the club. You don't know half the things I do for this place. Half the battles I'm trying to do and half the things I'm trying to incorporate so the younger kids can have a better chance of flourishing. Do you think the last person that came through was Sean Murray? We need to change the infrastructure. Like, there's things like that I'm doing that people you don't talk about. You do it in the background. And when I did the interview after Arsenal and said, look at all these people that will be affected, everyone said I made it about me, but I was talking about everybody else. You flip it now. I did the same interview, the same style of interview. Look how great it is for everybody. Now look how great Troy is. He's talking about everybody else. It's about people's perception. So when you talk about, you know, what I am away from football, yeah, of course I take that personally.
In terms of, just on that, you mentioned about Huddersfield, and I actually remember listening the morning after you on Talk Sport. Do you understand why, how do I word this? Do you understand why maybe fans had that perception of you, regardless of whether it was right or wrong, because they didn't see it and they're only seeing you on Talk Sport, they're only seeing what you're putting out there?
But tell me a time where someone, any footballer in any situation has told you the full truth until after they've retired. I have to play the media role. The club put me in front of the camera. There you go. Go and explain that. When we speak, do this. Have my club head on. If I turn around and went, this guy's actually full of shit and has absolutely lied about me. And you know what? I've got a real problem with that. That ties into the narrative that everyone's created when I haven't even spoken. I'm in a no-win situation with that. So all I did was tell you what happened.
Yeah,
he asked to speak to me. I went to see him. He wasn't there. We got on the bus. You're right, Gaffer. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Walking around the hotel. You're right, Gaffer. Yeah, you're right, Troy. No problem. We was losing anyway, weren't we? Remember Huddersfield away?
Yeah.
Half time, I'm warming up going, okay, I must be coming on. I think I'd scored the game before. I must be coming on. The assistant walked straight past me to Stipe, get warm, you're coming on. Okay. Still warming up, whatever. Second half, at the start of every second half, you'll always see, if you watch the games, they'll always tell three people, you and you. It's normally a defender, midfielder, warm up, because probably you're going to come on, and then we'll rotate it depending on how the game goes. Told everybody else to warm up except for me, the whole game. I'm just sitting there going, I've done something, like what did I do? And then I get in my car, just said this in the press conference. My agent now is phoning me, who the fuck is this? Mate, what's happened? I've literally just got in the car.
Is that the first example of anything with Vladimirovic? Because I know it's all in the past now, with and obviously having Cisco Munoz is great. Was that the first instant of anything with him?
On my kid's life, nothing. I did nothing but help him. I promise you. Even when I thought I was leaving and he asked me to train, I said, look, while it's this situation, I don't know what's going on. Let me stay away from the training group and keep the team focused. Yeah, no problem, Troy. I can't remember what game it was. It was playing against a team. For the life of me, the team's gone out of my head. Troy, what do you know about this centre half here? I don't really know too much. He does this. He naturally comes out with the ball on his right foot. And you know what? It'll give you a chance because he always tries to Cruyff it. Does that sound like someone that's like making problems?
No.
Ask any manager, if Troy's been a problem. Am I outspoken? Of course I am. We all know that. Do I have opinions? Of course I do. We all know that. But am I a soldier? Do I fall in line? Tell me to do something and I'll do it. Even with Malky, even with Doshi, I played left wing, played right wing. I didn't play. Not one of them has ever said Troy's a bad person. But this person did. Why is that?
Yeah.
What about Walter Mazzari? Was there kind of any parables between that and Vladimirovic?
We just didn't like each other.
Right.
We respected the hell out of each other, but personalities he didn't like powerful, outspoken people, and I didn't like people lying to me. It's just a personality clash. But I've never disrespected him, and he's never disrespected me. I just said we didn't get on. That's true. But I still played under him. I still didn't play. I played. He went. I shook hands. Thank you. Wish you all the best. See you later. That's it. Sometimes you have to be a man and just go like, all right, I don't like you. You don't like me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm going to be nasty about you or just say things that aren't even remotely true just to paint a narrative, because this is what gets frustrating from like your side, because obviously I do your side as well now with TalkSport, The Sun, and obviously my own podcast that's dropping. Like, we're
going to talk about that in a bit, Troy.
No worries. I'll give myself a seamless plug anyway. I'll do it. It's what I do. But what I'm saying is nobody said to him when he said Troy was dropped for disciplinary reasons. Why? Explain. If it's so bad, tell people, because you can paint me in a proper picture. If I've done something so bad, tell everybody. Don't give them a little bit and then everyone can make their own assumptions up. like that I'm not having, and that's why I spoke out about it, and that's why I was so pissed off.
Do you think a sense of honesty is kind of gone in the game now with the media kind of playing a bigger role, with the money involved? Do you think a sense of honesty is kind of gone?
A little bit, but then also it's twofold. So a sense of the media, yes, but also from players putting out what they want to put out. So when things are going good, you see more Instagram posts, more things happening. When things are shit, no one speaks. So it works hand in hand. And that's why I think, I don't know if you saw on my Twitter, I laid into someone a few weeks back when I posted something about the kids. And they were like, oh, what about the first team? I haven't posted about our football in about a year. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, sorry, mate. Well, just look at it. Like, I don't do it. I don't do it for that reason, because if I score, I go, yeah, I'm great. If we lose, fans were great. See you next week. It's bollocks. It's bollocks.
Yeah.
And you lot can see through it, and I can see through it. So why would I keep doing it?
I wanted to, Troy, I wanted to touch on Cisco, actually, just on the line of managers. It feels like this Watford squad really does kind of respond to a really good manager. I think Kike was one of them, as you mentioned before. Javi's obviously another one. Cisco, Gianfranco. Yeah, those sort of managers, I think not only you, but the other players have really responded to. What's your relationship like being with Cisco?
He's cool. We're cool. Because it's honest and it's straight to the point. He's great. He really is great. Again, honesty, but he's played in the game to a very high level. So people, within anything, it's about respect. And respect has changed over the years about what people identify as respect. But respect is, here, lads, you lot are really good. But at this moment in time, you're playing shit. So let's do this. I want to do this. You've all got to work for me. And we'll figure it out together. Even when things are bad, you can still be respectful, honest, and call people out. Doesn't mean you're throwing them under the bus or anything like that. But he's a great guy, and I'd let him talk about what our conversations are. But we have good respect. We're both family men, both got kids. We're not too dissimilar in age, believe it or not, even though that makes me sound really old. But yeah, like we're of the same generation, and it just works. And you like to see good people win, and that's why I made it a point on the weekend to tell him, like, well done, because he's all about putting on the players, but the same players that play for him were playing for Ivic, and it's night and day. We could all see that. So, he has to take credit for it.
What similarities do you see with him and the other ones you've worked under? Is there any one in particular that he's particularly similar to?
Say Kiko first time round, Sanchez the first time round. More impressionable with people, more personally hands-on, and it's not always about the football. Sometimes it's about like most of our conversations are complaining about our kids. Do you know what I mean? Like we haven't saw our kids in a long time, and then when we see them, it's like, oh, I wish we could have a good night's sleep, and just them kind of things, and a lot of football chat, obviously, because we're both, that's what people don't really know. I love football. Like, I watch it. I can tell you who's playing in League Two. I can tell you who's playing in Germany. I can tell you who's playing in Sweden. Like Chris Wood. I know he just scored a hat-trick recently, but top player. Like, you can't get to the level that he's played at, do what he does, and still be effective if you're not good. But people would never put him in a top 20 Premier League striker, and he is currently because there's only 20 clubs. So I just look at it from a different perspective, and we have good conversations about that, really. And just respect each other, mate. That's the best way.
I'm a massive fan of Cisco. I think that even though we haven't been at games, as a fan base, you can just tell that the mood has changed completely. Just the way he speaks to journalists in press conferences, the way he, your hug with Cisco at full time that was caught on camera was just brilliant. And
was that caught on camera? Was it?
Yeah, it was.
I generally thought at that point it would have been all on the players and stuff. I was just trying to stay out of the way. But
he was holding back the tears, wasn't he, Cisco?
What would you say?
He had a little cry at that point, yeah.
What a guy. What would you say the turning point was this season? Because I know we've spoken about the Huddersfield game where Ivic was sacked, but would you say that, I knew you came out the team after the Coventry game with your injury and we changed to the 4-3-3. Would you say that was the turning point?
Yes and no. Yes, because it was obvious that we needed to go 4-3-3 to everybody. That was evident. Trying to play Sarr as a striker was never going to work. Like, you can see that now. at the start of the season, playing 5 at the back in the Championship was never going to work. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, obviously, but I think that one was a blatantly obvious. We've got the best midfielders in the league by a mile. Let's get as many of them playing as we can and figure the other shit out around it. But I actually think the Stoke game was more important.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't won away, and I think what was it like? I think it was just a derby game we'd won, was it? Maybe just 1 or 2 wins away from home at that point, and it was becoming a big thing, wasn't it? Because our home record was ridiculous, but it was like can't win on the road, and that was what was going to fuck us up. And I remember that it was a really shit first half. We kept playing out from the back and just inviting pressure, and then had a good chat at half time. Everybody, second half, as you saw, was just night and day, and we beat them.
Your sort of role in this team, and we know that you've said that you do offer sort of support here and there, as and you have spoken to
don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. They'll all think I'm a nice guy. Don't tell them that.
I remember even in a press conference, Cisco saying that he'll offer advice to you, or he'll come, or you'll go to a game even when you're injured, obviously, as you have done, and offer support not only for the team but for him. Do you often put a word in and say, "Oh, watch that left back, he's dodgy," or are you the type to say something like that, or is it more maybe do you take a step back and just offer support instead?
No, I'll never go to a manager and tell him what he should do. Never do that. Literally, like that's what I'm saying about respect. There's a chain of command.
Yeah.
Somebody asks you your opinion, then you give it. Obviously, Troy, they play out from the back. They go to the left back a lot. What do you think we should do to counteract that with our current players? This is who we've got available. What do you think? Because I'm doing my badges as well. I'm doing my coaching badges as well. So again, I'm not always looking at it from a player's perspective. I can take myself out of that. And one thing that will never, ever be said about me is I love to win. I don't do losing. Even when we lose the FA Cup final 6-0 and get spanked, who's the mug who's there standing talking to people? Who's the mug who's the one doing the press conferences? Me. I have to front it. I have to say, oh, yeah, it was shit, but we go again. All summer, just literally being to my family. Like, we're on holiday and they're all like, you're a miserable. I just lost 6-0. I want to play again. Do you get what I mean? So I always want the team to win. And the last 6 years, I've always wanted this. I want to leave. And when I leave, this club is 10,000 steps ahead of when I first came. That's what I want. Whether I'm involved or not, that it continues to grow. And I think.
What does that look like for you? What would that look like?
Mate, there's no ceilings on it, is there? There's no ceilings on it because when I came, you got to remember there was 19, 20 players. 11 of them were youth products. Michael Bryan, Dale Bennett, Matty Wichlow, Ross Jenkins. I'm on the bench with these kids.
That's a throwback.
And I literally went, the first day you turned up, I'm like, I'm old here. I'm 21. I'm old. What's that mean? And we had 3 stands. Everyone forgets, like, short-term memory. Like, we had 3 stands up until even the Leicester game. We still had 3 stands. That stand was condemned. So 8 years ago, something like that. And like, look how far it's evolved and I've been a part of it all the way through, whether small or large. I can turn around and say I've been a part of that. The historical days, any big game you could talk back into, I've been involved in.
Troy, I wanted to ask you, just in terms, you mentioned the club evolving. As a fan channel, we often we speak to a number of different fans, get opinions and stuff. But I see it all that way, mate. One question I wanted to ask you is, how do you view your relationship with Watford fans?
Great. Why wouldn't it be? The interesting part is when you're not playing. Yeah. That's the best part. I can tell you this, hand on heart, I watch everything. I see all the shit that everyone says. It is what it is. It's an opinion-based sport, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
And the difference is you only see, I wouldn't even say half the glass, like a third of the glass of what actually, you see a match day, you don't see the shit that goes on in training and before games and things like that. So I don't get too mad at it in that regard. Sometimes I'll get frustrated when I'm, playing with things that are broken that shouldn't be playing with. And everyone goes, it's shit. Like that. That frustrates me.
Does that drive you?
No, it frustrates me because I know for a fact if certain people had half the injuries I had, they won't be playing. So that Coventry game, I played with a torn Achilles and a torn calf. That's kept me out for 4 months since. But I still played. Was
that the career-threatening one, Troy?
Yeah, that's it. But what I'm saying is I already had it before that. I was just carrying on.
Yeah.
And then if you remember in the first half, a guy lands on my ankle, it rolled out. That was kind of the breaking point. But I still finished the game and hit the bar, I think, towards the end. I was due to play against Bristol, but I was like, the pain was too much. I need to get this checked out. And we find out what we find out.
Throughout your career, do you think there's a sense of proving people wrong? I mean, from the earlier days in prison to, you know, you said that when Zola came in, you were told you were 5th, 6th choice striker.
Seventh
Choice striker.
I had Steve Bellick ahead of me at that point.
Yeah. Oh. and then, you know.
What are you laughing so much for, Jacob?
No, I'm not going to say anything.
Do you think there's a sense of proving people wrong that drives you? I mean, throughout your whole career.
Yeah, but it's changed over time, because if I wanted to prove people wrong and prove, like, my numbers do that.
Yeah.
I could stop playing today and my numbers do that.
But can you ever do you ever feel like it's a bit like the world against Troy Deeney at times?
Yeah, but I bring it on myself most of the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
If I'm having a bad day, like, or I'm playing shit, I'll just go through Instagram and find 6 things that'll make me train harder. Like that. It's easy. But the brilliant part, what I want to do, what I will do, now let me change that. What I will do, when I do what I'm supposed to do in the coming weeks and months, I'll just bring up all the shit that everyone was saying. Because I screenshot it, I see it all. So when you all turn around and go, oh, Troy's great, there you go. You didn't say that then. But the thing is with a fan, and I've been a fan, you can change your opinion weekly. I just think you can't always please everyone. So don't even try. And what I've done now is start proving myself right. If you'd have said, never mind all of the, like, my early life stuff, which is coming out in my book, by the way, another shameless plug. If you look at it from my early career, I remember being with Daishi at a fans forum. Can you remember it, where it was when that geezer said to me, he asked Daishi the question, who's going to score all the goals now we sold Marvin Sordell? It was in Kings Langley, in this little boozer in Kings Langley. Ask him what I said there. I said, I'll be a legend and I'll score all the goals. Don't worry about it. Was I wrong then?
Confidence always been there from minute one with your career and from day one? Because
no, mate, I'm full of shit. But I basically put myself under so much pressure that I have to deliver.
It was something I saw when you were at Walsall, and I just found it really, really interesting. Where it was, you said that your team. This is what the report says, so you're welcome to say any of it's
probably true. So go on.
Yeah, said some of them are happy to just pick up their money. When you play against, no disrespect to Leighton Orient, an average team, it's made us look worse. If I had enough money, I'd give all the supporters their money back, but I don't earn enough. We've got very important games coming up. If we play like that against Colchester, we'll get whacked.
So I've always been a big mouth since the start there, basically. No, but you know what? Yeah, because you know what? Like, again, going back to early years, like, again, half the stuff I've been through, the average person wouldn't be able to come out the other side of it. Do you know what I mean? So, like I say, read the book. There'll be some stuff in there that when you read it, you'll go, oh wow, I can see why he's how he is. But football's easy when you think about it. You win, you lose, or you draw. That's it. There's no other bullshit in between. You win, you lose, or you draw. What a fan wants, because I've been a fan, I've travelled. What does a fan want to see? Someone try his hardest. That's it. If you're not good enough, they'll tell you you're not good enough. But they'll put up with it if you're not good enough and you try your best. That's how simple it is. And I knew that from a young age. So when someone offered me the opportunity to play for Walsall and have a career as a footballer and get paid to play football when I was messing about doing everything else I was doing, as well as trying to be a builder, come on. There's only one way that's going to happen. I literally, and that's why I say you'll never outwork me. You can be better than me. I'll happily say there's been better players, there's been better people, but you won't outwork me. That won't happen.
Is it maybe to your detriment at times? Do you overwork yourself maybe too much at points?
Don't know, possibly. But at the same time, it's a great question, by the way. But at the same time, if I didn't play every time I felt something, I'd probably play 2 games a season. So it's understanding what you can play through, what you can't play through. We actually sat and figured it out because I was having a bit of a bad day 2 days ago, actually. I was a bit pissed off because I was training and weren't hitting the speeds I want to hit. And we sat, and the last time I played a game uninjured, have a guess how old I was when I was that? 26, the last time I played a game
26.
not injured. The year I scored 25 goals. We finished 13th, 14th, I think.
I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah. And that was the last time I played a game without an injury.
Wow.
It was that season. So realistically, like even when you're playing through the pain, the following years when I'm scoring and everything's good, no one gives a shit. But when it comes down a little bit, as it should do, because a fan won't see all of this, but as it comes down a little bit, they go, he's not as good as he was. I see all the comments. He's not as good as he was. He's only a leader now. I'm like, okay. In these games, and I'm coming off and having to ice my knee straight away, and people are going, he's paid for the pain, well done. But the second it's negative, it's like, it's tenfold. And I'll be honest as well, it's changed with since the taking of the knee stuff. A lot of people's anger has come out in different ways towards me, and certainly towards Dre, but certainly towards me as well. So that's changed people's perspective. So it is what it is. You understand that it's not always about football. And also in a year and a bit time where people's lives have been stopped, you guys have managed to keep the channel going, obviously, because you can do it through Zoom and whatever. But when your life stopped and you're at home and you're fed up, because we've all been fed up at some point, there's going to be, if you support Watford, there's one big person who's always talking that you can probably get at. So I understand it from that perspective as well. I don't take any of it too serious, because if I took it too serious, I'd probably end up in trouble again.
One thing I wanted to touch on, Troy, just you mentioned over the last year, and it was actually, if you don't mind me talking about, is your mental health, because I watched an interview with Alex Scott, and you mentioned that you've been seeing a therapist, and she opened up about it as well. I think even you mentioned about speaking to, I know Tommy Mooney's at the therapist. You spoke to Tommy Mooney when things aren't going well, and just over like the past year, how has your mental health been? Has it really fluctuated? Has it been worse than usual? Has it been better?
Yeah, I'd say it's fluctuated. I think at the start of lockdown, well, I've literally only told one person this, so I'm gonna tell you something else. Start of lockdown, actually at the Crystal Palace, after the Crystal Palace game and during the Palace game, I had COVID and I didn't even know. And I played through COVID at the Crystal Palace game when we lost 1-0 just before the shutdown. Yeah. So remember, we played Liverpool and then we played Palace. I had COVID in that game. I didn't know. I just thought I had a cough and whatever. And then obviously when everything got shut down, and I was literally in bed for 2 weeks. And then I had an interview with CNN from hospital. I was actually in hospital on a drip.
Was that with Darren Lewis?
Was it with Darren Lewis?
I think it was.
Yeah. And I was in hospital. If you pull that video back up, I'm on a drip in hospital at that point. I had kidney problems. I was pissing blood a lot. And this was all from COVID. But obviously at the time, I didn't know what it was, because if you remember, it was always like you had to have all three, like a temperature, loss of smell, and all of these different things. And I only had like one of the three. So no one really knew what it was. And yeah, that proper like me up at the start. And then obviously when it come back to Project Restart, without trying to feel sorry for myself or get the sympathy vote, I was like, look, some of the things aren't necessarily right here. Can we make sure everything's right? Because obviously my son was born and he's got some breathing problems as well. So I was like, can we make sure everything's all right? I got hammered for that from Watford fans to Joey Barton to everyone. But again, behind closed doors, if I told you what's really going on, everyone would have went, oh, yeah, I understand that. But I don't want sympathy. I don't want anyone's sympathy. The people that need to know knew about it. And some things you just have to crack on with. It's just that. Like, I remember people saying, what did Joey Barton say? Something like, if I was Troy's age, I'd want an extra year on my contract or something. And I was like, well, first of all, I got enough money. I'm good for money. Financially, I'm good. Trust me, I'm a good boy like that. Second of all, if it was, as you've just said, from the age of 21, all I've ever wanted to do is play football. So why would I now at 32 start going, oh, my career's over? Because even if I went at Watford, I'd just move to another team. So like, it's just the things that people were saying were so like, and that leads into what we said earlier, like people just say things out of frustration without actually logically thinking, what am I actually saying here? They're just typing shit and just saying stuff, but then they'll see me face to face and be like, "Oh, Troy, you're right. Can I get a picture?" And I've got to put the nice guy hat on there.
There was the whole null and void, which obviously people tried to run with and tried to make it a headline where it's Troy Deeney thinks Liverpool shouldn't win the title, and that's not what you've said, obviously. So
It's not what I said. Not remotely what I said.
Exactly.
All I said was, and the thing was, again, I'm just giving you exclusives because I actually want to give people some context for once. But when that happened, again, I did that interview in hospital. I got released the day that came out, so 3-4 days later. Then we had Troy said Liverpool shouldn't win the title. What? I literally, bear in mind, I'd spoke to Van Dijk with the Deulofeu situation, like reached out to me like, Troy, can you pass our best wishes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, cool. Then all this is coming out. But me and Jordan Henderson have been speaking weekly in regard to this Project Restart. So I literally phoned him up at like 10:30. Bear in mind, I'm on a little bit of an oxygen thing that's going through my nose. And I'm like, dude, like, I didn't say that. I got respect for everybody. Like, I'll never say something like that. And he was like, oh, Troy, we saw that. It's a bit strange because, we were always cool. And I said, listen, if I've got a problem with anyone, I'll tell them. The shit I said about Arsenal, you ever heard me say sorry for it? That one moment in that one particular time I was asked about, and I said it, I've never apologized for it, and I won't apologize for it because that's my opinion. But when people get a line, make it a headline, and like people try to do on my Instagram, and I viewers on it, Jacob, because I saw the WD18, I see it in there. But you know when it's like somebody said about Mazzari or Ivic, and I made a joke, and then I actually answered the question. People try to run with the joke as that was like a headline that Troy's going to do this to Ivic. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Sat in my house having a laugh with fans, like just chatting. But these are the lines and the lessons you learn as you get older. That like you literally have to watch every single thing that you say, and it's really difficult because you want to be personable. You want to have an interaction with fans. That's what football's all about. As you saw with the Super League stuff, it's about interaction with fans and fans having a voice. But at this moment in time, we try to suppress what players say because it won't fit in with the PR structure of it. It's hard. It's hard, mate.
You mentioned taking the knee a couple of minutes ago, and we got this whole social media boycott coming up in the next couple of days, and more talk about next season. Do we carry on taking the knee? What do you think needs to be done to, stamp out this problem completely? Because from my perspective, and I know it's easy to say this, from a privileged white male perspective, it can be difficult to wipe out the problem completely. So what do you think can be done to get rid of it, to the best, as much as you can?
The thing is, that's a great point what you just made there. It will never be eradicated. That's the point to it. It will never be eradicated. But what gets me frustrated is when the players give money to the NHS, was there an outcry? Was there an uproar? Was there people questioning why we're doing it? Because remember, when you talk about Black Lives Matter, it was about politics. It was about all of this. But a politician called on footballers to do something. Is that not politics? But nobody ever looks at it from that perspective. It's all right for a politician to come out on news when he's meant to give us all a headline about frigging COVID and the daily news, and footballers need to do more. Now that's making football politics, isn't it? But when you take the knee now, we shouldn't be doing that because it's politics.
What do you think about the players who are like Wilf Zaha, who's now standing?
Each to their own.
Would you do that?
Me, no. But each to their own. But the difference between me and Wilf is, I'm in these 5-hour meetings on a Wednesday night, frigging talking with government, talking with FA, he's not in those meetings. He has a perspective from what he sees. I know that the legislation changes I'm trying to, not just me, by the way, a lot of people are trying to change, is a 5, 6, 7, 8 year plan. Like that's not going to change overnight. It's long, it's tedious, it's boring. But you have to be willing to sit through those meetings and have those inputs. Now, is there short-term changes that could happen? Of course there is. Of course there is. You saw what happened with Ian Wright and the kid that hammered him and did all of that stuff online and said all these racist abuse. He got let off. How is that acceptable? How is it that, and I spoke to Thierry Henry recently, another shameless plug by the way, but I spoke to Thierry Henry recently, and he made a great point. If you try and play a song now, Jacob, on the intro to this, let's say a Justin Bieber song that's copyrighted, Instagram won't let you do it. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you could call somebody an M-word. You could call somebody a P-word. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, where's the logic to that? Like, there's short-term changes that can be done really quickly. And listen, you said a thing here, Sam, that makes it relevant. It's not ultimately all about race. It's about discrimination across the board.
Yeah.
But what's happening now is there's getting rungs of it. So there's men, there's women, there's gays in the community, there's Asians, then there's blacks. That's how it feels. So all we're asking to do is just be brought up to the same level as everybody else. No one's saying change the ladder and put blacks at the top and just bring us all up to the same level.
Yeah.
And then we can work, if we treat everyone the same, then we can work out who's racist, who's indifferent. And also we've got a cancel culture at this moment in time. People don't want to actually have their argument as to why they don't want people to take the knee, why they, their actual true thoughts to it. Because it might be that, I just think that they might think it's politics into football. Okay, but I give you the other opinion, what I've just said. You can agree to disagree on that. But now, because it's so cancel culture, you're either a racist or you're all in. But there has to be conversation. There has to be, narrative where you can argue and have discussions and understand. I don't understand your world. I don't understand how much time it takes to do a YouTube channel. And people won't. They'll think you just set up this computer in your room, talk shit, throw it out there, it's done. But it's not that, is it? It's editing, it's thinking of subject matter, thinking of titles, thinking of, taking it to the games. Because I remember when you was doing it against Spurs.
Well, after the header, your header.
2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
What, the one where you...
me and Craigie scored.
Yeah, Kafka. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But even from then, I've noticed who you are and what you've been doing. But what I'm saying is you've developed over 3 years to get to this point. To other people now, they've just come onto it and gone, he just privileged. Like his mum and dad must have bought him everything. The club must be giving him content. And it's not. You've done it. It takes hard work. So the same thing happens in loads of different reasons. But let's just have a conversation and let's move forward. And as a club, I think we're always one step ahead of everybody else. I'm obviously biased because I'm here, but did great work with the We campaign. We're still doing that work. We're doing work internally. We've had fans that have been caught and we've put on workshops. I'm actually talking to a couple next week, having conversations with people. It's not like, you've been racist now. Troy's going to go, jump all over down your throat. That don't work because I've made more mistakes than anyone. I will continue to make more mistakes than anybody. Let's talk, let's develop, let's move it forward. And that's all you want for, like I said, for the club, but also for society. Let's just keep moving forward.
You're on the PFA Players Board now. That's sort of a fairly recent thing that you've been sort of, I think, is it like an election-based thing where you sort of put on there as part of part of that? So is that linked with the same thing? You want to have these discussions, have these conversations about this and try and make these changes? Is that the reason behind it?
I'm all about accountability. That's what I'm all about. So to keep it in football, if I'm shit, Troy needs to be accountable for that. Why was Troy shit? Is he past it? Is he not training properly? Is he injured? These are the things that I do just for me. But the PFA, in my opinion, has been doing nothing for a long time. So there's an opportunity now for me to have a say and hold people accountable. Okay, all I have to do is put my name onto something and see if I got voted in. Literally on these things, everyone put their mission statements. Like, I don't know, where's Morgan? I think I'll be good at this because I'm coming to the end of my career. I can have more time, blah, blah, blah. Everyone did it. Mine said Troy Deeney, no name. I don't need to say anything. You know what I stand for. You know who I am. Vote for me or don't vote for me. Doesn't change my day. I'm still going to do what I've got to do. But people voted for me. And you know how many people went? It was refreshing to not see bollocks written down. Voting, because I know you know what I stand for.
You know, we've followed you since you came to the club in 2010. Just finished your 11th season. What does the future look like for Troy Deeney?
So it's amazing, right? People go, he does that TalkSport. Do you know Monday is my day off? Monday is my day off, and I do this whole big TalkSport show. Do you know what time I finished? Latest 10 a.m. I've got a full day. Imagine that. I've got a full day that I can
what
still
time do you get up?
3:45.
Yeah.
Rough. It's worth it for Ali McCoy, though.
But what the thing is, I'm never late. I've yet to miss a show, and it's an experience. And if I turn around at the end of it and go, it's not for me, it's not for me. All right, I don't see it as a loss. And also, we do it. We're talking football now. But I'm getting paid a lot of money to do it. All right, go on then. I'll do it. And then we got to a point where I could work from home. So I literally had to wake up at frigging 5:45 and go downstairs. Okay, I'll do it then. That's not a bad gig. By the way, just to remind people, because I know everyone's short-term memory, I can still play football, you know. I'm not bad. And all that this has done is let other injuries heal up that I had, and now I've got one that will hopefully, is going as it is, it will act like I never had an injury. So next year, well, I'm playing again this year, but next year will ultimately be about proving people wrong, proving myself right. I still love football. I'm 33 years old. People talk about it like I'm 39, like 33. We've known players that play. It's just, the thing is, it's a youthful game now. I understand that. So when you've got Ismail Assar who's running 40 mile an hour down the wing, are people going to like that? Of course they are. Of course they are. But the enjoyment I take from it is, like, everyone acts like only Troy scores penalties. Does Ivan Toney score penalties? Armstrong score penalties? Did Sarr score penalties? Did Pedro score penalties? It's only Troy that takes penalties, apparently. But in the framework in which we have played in the 4-3-3, it's not designed for a striker to score or have 15, 16 chances a game. Do you get what I mean? It's more designed for wingers to be introverted, getting on the back of it. And we play so quick with Sarr getting in behind that there's not many people, not only in our team, but in this country that can keep up with him. It's brilliant when people go, oh, but Troy's never in the box. Watch a game, I'm always in the box. And in certain games, obviously, notably Preston at home, one of my earlier games in the season, I score, set assist, and everyone's going, oh, leader, captain, he's great. And it's like, even I'm going, it's bollocks. Stop talking shit. I was crap in that game. I was actually crap. But you score and you assist, and it changes everyone's, analytics of the game because you've got these two good markers against you. But sorry, I've gone off topic to what you actually asked me, but I've still got a contract. I'm still good. I will be proving myself right. And I got a chip on my shoulder now. If you thought I had a chip on my shoulder before, I've got an even bigger one now.
And just to wrap up, Troy, just on the podcast, you name dropped Elton on that live with your mates. I think you met. I've seen a selfie with AJ as well.
Well, are you suggesting that it could be good? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it could be good. It could be good. When is that? Are you allowed to say when that's coming out?
Yeah, it lands on Friday. It lands on Friday on Spotify.
Nice
and
one.
A few other
nice
things.
One.
There's a few issues with iTunes at the moment on their side, not on my side. They're doing something with their podcasting, streaming. I think they're changing it to visuals as well, a bit like what Spotify have done. So it'll be coming on iTunes probably a week or so later. But now we've got a good first little go at it. I got some good people coming. Let's put it that way.
Troy, would you consider inviting Vladimirovic on there just to talk things out?
Sam, we're having a good chat. Why are you just making things awkward?
Troy,
you know what? Sorry, just to answer that. I personally don't have a problem with him as a human being. I just have a problem with him lying. So if you wanted to have a conversation as to like, dude, what are you lying for? And we sorted that out, there'll be no issues. I'm going to be 33 in the summer. I'm too big. I've had too many real life problems to worry about someone's opinion of me being bothered. Like, let's just talk it out, have fun. I'm a changed man. I'm all about positivity and trying to win, and
love it.
That's it. Sorry, a bit boring, like. But
no, mate. Troy, absolute pleasure, mate. I really do appreciate taking the time out to speak to us. I know you're a busy man, so
I appreciate you guys as well, and keep doing the good stuff, man. It is good, even when you hammer me. It's good stuff. I'll see you all. Don't worry.
Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Cheers. See you later.